But time now for an exclusive conversation with Tata Power. The company reported a good set of earnings for Q4. The net profits came in above street estimates, while the revenue and EBITDA also surged. They have a strong solar EPC order book at over 17,400 crores. Praveer Sinha, who's the managing director and the chief executive officer of Tata Power, joins us now. Mr. Sinha, good morning and thanks a lot for joining in. Can you, we have the numbers with us, but can you give us some qualitative analysis on what FY24 could look like in terms of an operational performance and also the key contribution to profitability from the Indonesian coal operations? Can this profitability sustain? Because coal prices have corrected significantly from the highs in recent times. Your thoughts, sir?
Good morning, Sonia. Always a pleasure to be on your show. Thank you. I think the performance has been very good for Tata Power and consistently 14 successive quarters that we have shown a growth in PAT. But let me try to share with you that what has happened is over last few quarters, there has been huge consistency in the profitability and the EBITDA of the company. And that has been because our existing operations, which is our existing generation operations, coal, hydro, gas, all have done very well. Similarly, our existing transmission and distribution operations have stabilized. Our renewable operations, especially the generation part of it, has stabilized, and the availability of all the plants are more than 99.9%. So what is important is going forward, this will continue to be there. Now, the only difference is that when the coal prices goes up, the coal companies make profit. The CGPL, that is the Mundra plant, that makes a loss. Now, if we look at both of them, they counterbalance each other. So if the coal prices comes down, the Mundra losses comes down also. And if it goes higher, the Mundra losses also becomes higher. So I think when we club both of them, they will be more or less quids, and we will not have a huge swing between the two. We will also start seeing the full benefit of the Odisha Discom. We took over that between 2020 and 2021. And we have done a lot of cleaning activities. The AT&C losses have reduced drastically from range of 35 to 40%. They are in about 20% rate. And the full benefit of the acquisition and the improvements that we have done will start showing from next year. So I expect that qualitatively we will be more or less very stable in FY24 also. And our operations will continue to surprise everyone because we are bringing a lot of consistency in our performance.
Sure. Can you give us a little more details about the Mundra operations in Q4? How many days was the plant inactive? Is it fully functional now?
So in Q4, we did not operate the plant for a very long period. Only one unit operated, and that also for just about a month and 10 days. So about 40 days it was operated. And we were expecting that once the Section 11 comes, we will start operating. And now we are operating all the Mundra 4 units and supplying to all the 4 beneficiaries. Of course, Haryana is not taking, but other 4 are taking the full capacity. So, and this will continue, expecting that the existing arrangement is till 15th of June, but it may get extended depending upon what sort of heat conditions are there and what sort of demand requirement is there in the country. So I think we will continue to see good performance from Mundra in terms of availability of power. But yes, the tariff will come down because the coal prices have come down.
All right. Hi, Mr. Sinha. Good morning. I just heard you saying that the profitability of low profitability of the coal mining business, that's a 30% stake all that you'll have out there, will be compensated by Mundra. It's difficult to imagine that, right? In the past year, 60%, 55, 60% of your PBT came in from this coal mining business. And now coal prices are sharply lower. I wanted your comment on it. Profitability could get hit.
I don't think so, because the coal profit is linked to the losses of Mundra. And if you have seen last year, the Mundra losses were high, and in the earlier years also. So the difference between the loss of Mundra versus the profit of coal mines is virtually a very, very small amount, and it is not making a huge impact. While in absolute numbers, it will look that the coal profit is there, but so is the absolute number of losses of Mundra. So I think if you combine both of them, we will never have a very high profit coming between the both the entities.
Right, Mr. Sinha, on the could you give us some numbers in terms of what the coal business financials looked like for the quarter?
I don't have the breakup of the numbers, but when we look at it, the coal numbers are not very good in Q4 because the coal prices have come down, and Mundra losses continue to be there. So I think, as I mentioned to you, there is not much of difference between the Mundra operation under recovery and the coal mining profit.
All right, Mr. Sinha. Mr. Sinha, if you could give us a few details. Mundra is functioning at what PLF, if you could tell us that. And also, I believe that the outstanding from SEBs has come down. So what has it come down by? I believe in the last couple of months, you've recovered a goodish amount.
Yeah, so most of the payment has come from the procurers. So all of them, based on the order of CRC and APTEL, have made the payment. A very small quantity is left. I think about 500 crores is still left, but the rest of it is coming. And also, whatever we are now supplying, we get that payment on a weekly basis. So to that extent, Mundra is quite insulated in terms of the receivables from the procurers. More so because Mundra continues to be also in the merit order, and most of the procurers are scheduling power from Mundra. Today, now the 4 units are operating. 1 is under shutdown. So we are giving full 4 units availability to the procurers, and they keep on scheduling during the day based on their requirement.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the renewable energy business, because over there your solar EPC order book is very strong. It's over 17,000 crores. But can you tell us about the order execution timelines, also any visibility in terms of further orders as well from this space?
So the solar EPC business went little slow in last 1 year, primarily because of the supply chain disruptions, and also because the prices of modules were very high. But now that the prices have come down in last 6 months, so we will be executing most of these projects in next 12 to 18 months. These are very good projects that we had won, and we expect that some of it from the imported modules, and once our manufacturing facility gets ready by this year end, we'll start also using the modules produced in our own facility. So I think most of the projects, which is there, the 4 gigawatt of EPC projects that we have, which partly is in-house and partly is for third party, will get executed in next 12 to 18 months.
Mr. Sinha, I was reading a note from the analyst house, CLSA, and this is what they have to say about the real estate business, and I want your comment on this. They say, and I quote, this is on the renewable side. The key message seems to be that it is easy to win renewable projects and concessions, but that the focus should be on profitable growth. They go into lots of numbers, etc., how things have not looked good in the quarter which has gone by. As we head into FY24, could you give us some qualitative sense of what we should expect from the renewables portfolio? Because that's going to be a very, I think your presentation says it's going to be a very large part. 45% plus is going to be the renewable portfolio going forward. Go on, sir.
So last quarter, our performance of the EPC business has been fantastic. I don't know from where the data has come, but let me tell you that last year, our EPC business from Tata Power Solar has done maximum in terms of profitability, both in terms of percentage as well as in terms of absolute numbers. And that is because many of the projects where we were having challenge in terms of procurement, we have deferred it for the next year because we were expecting the prices to come down, which is our correct assessment because we now find that in last 6 months the prices have drastically come down, and we will be now able to execute all these projects at the margin at which we had bid. So what we feel very strongly is that our decision to defer will help us to get better margins when we execute these projects in next 12 to 18 months. Also, our manufacturing facility, the module plant will be ready by September, October, and the cell by end of the year, will help us to manufacture these modules in-house and use it, and that will be substantially lower than what we would have otherwise imported and paid the customs duty on that. So I think we are in good shape. We have always ensured that we get very good margins and very good return. And whatever are the bid numbers, we not normally stick to that. In fact, in many cases, we end up doing better than that also.
All right, Mr. Sinha, let's talk about two factors now. One is, you've mentioned about Odisha Discoms. That business is doing very, very well. Now, if I do an addition from your PPT itself, the Odisha Discoms business, the profitability is quite large. What kind of a run rate are you looking at maintaining out there? And also, you have 48%. That's in Tata projects, and that continues making a loss, which is hurting. When do you see that turnaround?
So, Odisha Discom, we took over between 2020 and 2021. We had to clean up a lot of things, and based on the bid that was done, in the first 3 years, we were supposed to make losses in all the 4 Discoms, but we've been making continuous profit right from year one. And the profits have been after considering a lot of cleaning up of data and cleaning up of the billing arrangement which was there. All that has been done. So what we expect is our profitability in Odisha will actually increase many-fold going forward, because going forward, all the cleaning up process has been completed. And you will see that on quarter, the Odisha Discoms will do very well. As far as Tata Projects is concerned, it has had a lot of onerous contracts where it has made losses. It has completed that exercise as to what is the cost of completion, and it has accounted for all that, though the projects have not been completed as yet. But whatever would be the perceived losses, they have accounted for in made provision. And I think what is important is that going forward, since they have cleaned up everything, we should expect profit and not losses which it had incurred last year.
From the second half of the year in Tata Projects?
In the first half itself.
First half itself. Lovely.
Okay. And on the Odisha Discom, you said that the profits will improve substantially. Can you quantify for us what it could be? Ballpark?
Let's wait. We'll perform and demonstrate that.
Okay. Okay.
If I'm going through your PPT on, the summation is around 145 crores in Odisha Discoms, as Sonia asked, on a quarterly basis. You want to give us a number?
So similar run rate for the year.
Okay. All right. In general, how are you feeling about power demand in FY24? What kind of growth are you looking at in the sector? And, in terms of PLFs, etc., how do you see them trending?
So I think the power demand has grown. Of course, it also is very much dependent on the weather conditions. We saw in last 1 year the growth of power demand by nearly 9%. And there has been a huge increase in demand from all sectors, not only from the industrial and commercial, but also from the residential sector. And considering that universal access of energy has happened and every village, every town has now access of electricity, the consumption patterns have seen a huge increase. We expect that last year the peak was 216. This year it should be in the 230 gigawatt. But the rains in last 2 months have made the whole prediction little difficult to make. But I think going forward, if it becomes much warmer, the country is ready to meet the requirement of power.
All right, Mr. Sinha, final question before we let you go. The broad feedback that we got from the sell side is that they want more disclosure, particularly on Mundra, So let's see next quarter, I guess, if you could make that, will be beneficial for the entire street to read these numbers. But before we wind down, your debt number has come down to around 35,000 crores. You've done some fundraise, some, stake sale, etc. in a couple of assets. What does that number look like? Will it stabilize out here? Is there a possibility of reduction? Or given that you have some capex, does it go up from here?
It will be in the same range. As you are aware, last year we did a capex of nearly 6,500 crores, and this year we are planning to double that to nearly 12,500 crores. And many of them, of course, will start generating enough cash to pay for itself. But till such time that happens, there would be a certain mismatch in terms of the quantum of debt that would be required. But I think we'll be more or less meeting all our future requirements of capex from internal accruals.
And we can look forward to further disclosures on the Mundra asset and the likes in the first quarter onwards?
I think we need to look at it that Mundra is today merged with Tata Power, and
yes,
it's a combination of Mundra and the various other businesses. And to the extent required, we give the details. But if there is someone who requires more information, we will be more than happy to share.
All right, we leave it at that, sir. Thanks a lot for joining in and fielding all of our questions and giving us so much data. Appreciate your thoughts and your time on CNBC-TV18. Well, the market is still very quiet, actually, hasn't moved much. So let's take a quick break on that note. On the other side, we'll get you excerpts of our